I would like to call to order the regular meeting of City Council for Monday, March 10th, 2025. Thank you for those that have attended or are attending our meeting in person. And so I just want to just go down a laundry list of different things to participate in this meeting. So public participation. There are 3 ways to submit public comments. Number 1, submit written comments by meeting day. Number 2, submit written comments during the meeting. And number 3, attend the meeting in person. To submit written comments by meeting day, please email the city clerk at cityclerk@dalycity.org and include public comment in the subject line. All written comments received by 4 p.m. on meeting day will be covered or will be provided to the city council prior to the meeting. Please note any comments received after 4 p.m. on the meeting date are not guaranteed to be received by the city council prior to the meeting. Comments are not read out loud into the record. During the meeting, you may visit www.dalycity.org/agendas to submit comments using the public comment form to address the city council on a specific item or during the public comment period, and such comments are delivered to the city council and city staff during the meeting and may be read into the record at the time they are received. To speak at the meeting in person, please complete a speaker card located at the entrance of the city council chamber and submit it to a staff member as early in the meeting as possible. Persons with disabilities who require auxiliary aids or services in attending or participating in this meeting shall call the office of the city clerk at 650-991-8078 as soon as possible. Okay, before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge our land acknowledgements. The city of Daly City acknowledges that we are on the ancestral lands of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. We recognize their enduring connection to this region and honor their history, culture, and contributions. As the indigenous protectors of this land, we affirm their sovereign rights as the original inhabitants of this land and pay respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. So if you can please stand for the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Ms. City Clerk, can we lead us off with a roll call, please?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Present.
Ms. Perano,
Present.
Mr. Sylvester,
Len Sylvester, present.
Ms. Manalo,
Present.
Dr. Rod.
Present. We have one presentation today. We have a proclamation for Women's History Month, and I'm going to hand it over to Councilwoman Manalo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I'm really honored and privileged to be able to read off the proclamation today. With your request, I'm really grateful. And so this evening, we are proclaiming Women's History Month 2025. Whereas the city of Daly City has observed Women's History Month every March since 2005, and whereas Women's History Month is an annual celebration that honors the vital role that women have played throughout history in shaping societies, advancing social justice, and contributing to the global community in countless ways. Whereas women continue to make tremendous strides in such areas as education, policymaking, technology, and the arts, yet face persistent challenges, including gender-based violence, unequal pay, and underrepresentation in leadership positions, which must be addressed through ongoing advocacy, policy changes, and collective action. And whereas the theme for Women's History Month 2025 is Women's Voices, leading change, inspiring future generations, emphasizing the importance of amplifying women's voices in leadership and activism while fostering a future where gender equality is a lived reality for all. Whereas Daly City's population is comprised of 50.2% females, and the city's workforce is currently comprised of 37% females, making up more than 1/3 of the city's total number of employees. And whereas on January 13, 2025, the Daly City Council became the first city in San Mateo County to establish a Women's Commission. Whereas the city of Daly City will hold its annual Women's History Month celebration on Thursday, March 27th, 6 p.m. in the City Hall Rotunda with music, food, and a special ceremony honoring the 5 extraordinary women that the City Council appointed to the Women's Commission. Now, therefore, our amazing Mayor, Dr. Roderick Dasmagwal, and the members of the City Council hereby proclaim March 2025 as Women's History Month in Daly City and encourage the community to celebrate women of all ages for continually making our community a better place in which we live, work, and play.
Thank you, Councilmember. I just wanted to give the space for Councilmember Manalo to read this proclamation, because if it wasn't for her efforts last year as mayor, she spearheaded this effort to have this Women's Commission. And I think that I just want to also give props to the other women in my on the dais as well. Every time I walk into the mayor's office, I look at all the pictures and to see how it has evolved from being one specific identity to a diverse set of folks. And I'd like to just open up to the dais to, if anybody else has anything to say for Women's History Month.
You go. You go. No, you go. You go. You sure? This is how we are, more polite, right? Well, I just, first of all, thank the mayor because he was always been supportive of everyone and then of all ages, and not just because he has a lovely daughter and wife or those in his family that are close to him, but it's always been something I've noticed about him, that he remains to be respectful and in every venue that I've seen him of women. And you know, and then you shouldn't have to separate yourself. But, you know, in these days and times, we know that everybody has a long ways to go, but, you know, you want to be supportive of one another, no matter what your gender is and no matter what your background is, and everyone has something to offer. So by creating this, and we all support the Women's Commission proudly, all of us together, and they'll be the first one like being sworn in. So that's going to be a huge thing for us, and that in Daly City. And we have a long ways to go, but we're getting there. But we are grateful to our city manager, who makes sure there's equality in the workplace as far as women, and the department heads as well. I want to thank them because they make sure that there's equality across the board and no matter what. So I thank the mayor, I thank Councilmember Sylvester and my colleagues, Councilwoman Perano, Councilwoman Manalo as well, and that this is a way to look forward. And when you create history, you can actually create history together. So this is a momentous thing for all of us together, and appreciate all of it. Thank you. Perano.
When I was asked to work with Councilmember Jocelyn Manalo on this, I was so excited because it's not just recognizing women. My hope is that we are going to touch on all aspects of being a woman, so youth and middle-aged and older and all the things we have to go through that you don't really talk about. And so I look forward to seeing what this commission can build and make it a better place, make Daly City a better place for the women of all ages. And so thank you.
Vice Mayor Lynn Sylvester.
All right, here we go. The year was 1975, and hearing and feeling this proclamation today, the mayor used one word, and that word is evolved. So I go back to 1975 when I first took the test to become a police officer in San Francisco. And it is then, when I was going through my oral boards, the folks on the oral panel had asked me, how would you feel like working with a female? And what I said to them, women and females carry certain attributes and traits that not necessarily men have. And that is the maternal instinct to look after someone. Hey, you got something on your hair, or you got lint on your pants. A female would generally look out for you and try to keep you looking good and up to snuff. And my final comment to them was, but I have an issue. A female would have a problem carrying me out of a window. But you know what? A guy would also. So, I mean, this is so appropriate that San Francisco Police just celebrated its 50th year anniversary of women on patrol. And I remember the women back in 1975. There was only a few of them. But you know what? They were the trailblazers for what goes on today. So it's something I will never, ever forget. They took the test just like their male counterparts, and they deserved the job as a police officer. So I know that's only one aspect of women in the workforce, but that was definitely a clear example to me of how it has evolved over the years. What's that saying? We can do it. And so, thank you so much. And it's great that the women are being recognized. Thank you.
I guess Councilwoman Manalo has anything else you'd like to provide?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. You know, for the record, today is a momentous occasion. I just remember, I know, I want to thank my colleagues as it was a unanimous vote to finally get this on. But it wasn't without a struggle. Actually, the first time we actually weren't able to put this on the agenda because, you know, there wasn't a vote. And so I think it just shows also through persistence and perseverance that you got to keep pushing for advocacy. And that, you know, together we're now moving forward to build a commission where there's representation from our city. And the intent was always to ensure that the voices of our community are at the forefront, especially women. You know, when the pandemic happened, women were the most that were affected, women and children. And so we are now moving forward, but there are still remnants of that. And that I look towards really those that we have appointed to bring forth issues, to celebrate the women in our community, and also just have that aspect. And I know that it's positivity ahead, and I'm just really grateful that we were able to move unanimously. And I want to thank my colleagues for seeing the vision. And so I say, you know what? When everyone's watching out there, you have to always persist and keep pushing because eventually it will happen, right? And that's for the young women watching out there.
Thank you. Councilmember Manalo. So I'd like to just conclude. I just want to reiterate everything that everybody else said. I definitely want to thank the women in my family that helped raise me. I'm a mama's boy, and I'm proud to say that. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for like my mom's charisma, my mom being my first teacher, teaching me how to write on a chalkboard, teaching me the ABCs, conducting spelling tests. And whenever I had an issue or needed help on my homework, I would go to my dad, and my dad would say, "Go to your mom." And I'm like, dang. It's like, Dad, do you know anything? But also, I just want to thank all the staff. You know, it's not a secret that a lot of our staff are women, And, a lot of the things to make us look good and to make us look organized and give us all the information, we're just like the Oz in front of this whole system. And sometimes we never get to see the people, the unsung heroes that help put this thing together. So I just want to say thank you to all the staff, all the women in our staff that helps put this together, because sometimes we never get a chance to say pause and say thank you. And there's a lot of different things that we never get to say thank you for, because in our society, there's this idea of like paid and unpaid labor. And unpaid labor is emotional labor. And I think one thing that I learned now that I've been married for a while now, almost close to 20 years, is that, when I got married to my wife, she was like, if you're going to get married to me, then you got to also believe in equity. So what does equity mean? And I had to show up in action. So being the person that cooked, being the person that does the laundry, tried to be the emotional labor, it's freaking hard. And I recognize the privileges that a lot of men have, by not stepping into those roles that, women do on every day, and it's like clockwork and it's quote unquote normal for them. So I just want to say thank you for Councilmember Manalo for bringing this forward. Thank you for the folks in the dais. Thank you to my staff for, making us always look good and giving us all the information so that we can thrive in what we do and be well as council members. So thank you. Okay. All right. Moving on. Can I get a motion for the approval of minutes for the regular meeting of February 24th, 2025?
Motion to approve?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next up is a motion or approval of agenda. Can I get a motion for approval agenda for regular meeting of March 10, 2025?
I'd like to make a motion.
You got a first?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
At this point, we're moving on to public comments or oral communications. Are there any public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move and proceed. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Through the mayor?
Yes.
May we pull 5 and 6, please?
So with the exceptions of items number 5 and 6, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve all items other than 5 and 6.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Glenn Sylvester, second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. So all those in favor to approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of items number 5 and number 6? All those in favor say
Oh.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All right, so we have item number 5, and that is Leilani.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Before you this evening is a request to review and approve the attached draft written response to the San Mateo County Civil Grand Jury Report, Restaurant Exteriors, the Neglected Space, and authorize the city manager to transmit the approved correspondence to the presiding judge of the Superior Court as requested. As we have background, the San Mateo County Civil Grand Jury issued a report, Restaurant Exteriors, the Neglected Space, to address the issue of unsightly and unsanitary conditions of the exterior trash areas of food service businesses. Restaurant garbage and food waste is not always contained in a designated exterior bin and may overflow, attracting animals and other undesirable pests. The grand jury found a significant number of restaurant exterior waste storage areas and areas below parklets had clearly deficient, unsanitary, unsightly, and odorous conditions. The investigation found that the standards for these areas to be inconsistent at best and non-existent in some circumstances. And so the report makes 6 findings and 1 recommendation for the city of Daly City, which the city is required to provide responses for. Of the 6 findings, we do agree to all of them. And for the recommendation, we've already implemented it. So staff is available with any questions.
All right. I'm going to throw it down to you,
Yeah,
Councilmember.
through the mayor. Yeah, so what I was wondering is, I think, first of all, thank you for putting this together, and I think city manager as well, for your letter and everything else that was put in there. Very detailed. So do we need to revisit our ordinances to make them, to change them to perhaps make sure that it helps in that, like in, or the enforcement part? That a lot of this will be mitigated, and I realize that, but by working with Republic Services. But I was wondering if, with our council, through the mayor, if you think that we should revisit our ordinances, is there anything we can look at that other cities are doing that will help that this doesn't become a issue, because it is about, even though we can do enforcement, about people's behavior or training or educational aspect. Maybe the Small Business Commission can go out and educate the small businesses or anything like that. So through the mayor, I didn't know if our council could maybe look at that and see if we can do anything so that it won't be such a burden on the staff as well, and Republic Services for cost. So I didn't know if the city manager had anything to add. Thank you, Tom.
Our response is in line with
Yeah.
pretty much everything you just said, so.
Yeah.
We are working with our waste hauler to
Yeah.
implement all these recommendations, so.
Yeah, so if you can, Mr. Mayor, that would be great. Thank you very much, and I want to thank for being on top of it, because, I mean, a lot of it, again, is human behavior, but we do need to increase our ordinances and maybe update them. Thank you, Leilani, I'm over here. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Manal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for clarity purposes, it has been implemented already, the recommendations.
That's correct, Councilmember Manalo.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but we still can revisit and always increase and look at things and make them better. Thank you.
May I?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So I was just looking at the response in the letter, and I did read it earlier. It looks like the city totally agreed, and the city is moving forward on what's been implemented. But I think it was good that we speak about it, but it looks like you guys are on the ball. So thank you for doing that. Appreciate it.
All right, so with that, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is very quick. I think the city has been doing an outstanding job prior to getting this letter for a response from the grand jury. I, for one, folks have contacted me, and as soon as I made a call, the issue has been taken care of, especially with disposal services, was it Republic Services, and it's the changing out of the bins, and I can't believe how quick it's been done. All you have to do is make a phone call. So kudos for what's been happening throughout the city, and the mere fact that this only strengthens it, because if you read the letter, the city agrees, the city agrees, the city agrees. So that's telling me that it's been done. So thank you again. Great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any more comments? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve item number 5?
Motion to approve?
A motion, can we get a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
resolution
Thank you.
passes. Item number 6, approve Reservoir 7 tank replacement design. We have Mr. Cosgrove and Mr. Patolo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Joshua Cosgrove, the Director of the Department of Water, Wastewater Resources. I'm going to hand this over to the department's Water and Wastewater Resources Maintenance Manager, Mike Patolo, and he's going to go through the staff report for you.
Good evening. So staff is authorized staff, the recommended action, authorize staff to enter a professional services agreement with West Yost to provide engineering design services for a water system improvement design for Reservoir 7 tank replacement. West Yost's design bid proposal for this project is $588,558. Staff, however, is also requesting an additional 20% of it's $117,711.60 for any unforeseen changes that arise for this complicated design for an amount not to exceed $706,269.60. Basically, the background, in 1962, the city constructed Reservoir 7, which is a 1.5 million gallon welded steel tank. It's near 2300 Skyline Boulevard. The reservoir was designed and constructed in conformance with American Water Works standards. The flat roof reservoir is not anchored to its reinforced concrete ring wall foundation, causing the potential for the reservoir to slide off its foundation. The city assessed Reservoir 7's condition most recently by G&E engineers in 2016. The assessment identified structural shortfalls and condition deficiencies. The risk level was assessed as high for failure because of its proximity to the San Andreas Fault. Because of the reservoir's age and deficiency, the city took the tank out of service in October 2020 and worked with a neighboring agency to provide potable water and fire suppression for the adjacent tank. DWWR staff is recommending demolishing the existing steel tank of Reservoir 7 and replace it with a 1.5 million gallon to a 2 million gallon pre-stressed concrete reservoir. The new reservoir design will address all previous structural issues, will be designed to fit onto the existing site, and will provide for additional storage for fire suppression. In the discussion, throughout a competitive selection process, the city received 3 competent proposals. Staff requested design services to check the existing tank for hazardous materials, carry out geotechnical investigations and surveying, prepare preliminary design, detailed design, bidding assistance, and an engineering assistance during construction. Staff selected West Yost as offering the best project understanding and design services as a competitive price. And the financial impact, sufficient funds are available in Water Capital Fund Reservoir 7 replacement in Fund 41-385-788-4534 to provide for this action. In summary and conclusion, authorize staff to enter into a service agreement with West Yost to provide design services for Reservoir 7 tank replacement in the amount not to exceed $706,269.60. Staff is available to provide any additional information if desired by the mayor and council members.
Thank you. And if I may just add to, our Chief of Operations, Greg Kraus, is also here in case you have questions related to operations of the water system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh. Councilmember.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you to the mayor. I just want to say that I know that you've been waiting for a while, and then for this to start, as far as I remember, I think there was a presentation that you got, it was a little while back, wasn't it? And I think the Councilmember Sylvester had asked a lot of questions because you had a lot of presentation. So how long, or do you think that when this can commence and be done? Because I know that you guys have been, and I appreciate the work you've been doing on it. It's a project that's definitely needed.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember DiGiovanni. I am looking at the calendar here, and the letters are very small.
It is.
It looks like the design, is this just the design?
It is small.
Design is about, I think it looks like a year. Construction also a year. So I think altogether, we're looking at about 2 years estimated. Could be a little bit more.
Yeah.
If
So
we're
once the
lucky.
approval, then you can, and I just want to tell you and your department and Mr. Kraus, you guys have done a really great job in keeping up on all these issues. We know that to get that infrastructure and to keep everything going, especially in the challenging times financially, and you've always done a stellar job, stellar, on making sure that the monies are well spent and that who you pick, the project, and make sure it's all detailed as this, and with the experts and all of your expertise. I can't say enough about how great it is to let the people know that the infrastructure here is being well taken care of, and a stellar job. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else amongst my colleagues? Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
This is on a slightly different subject. Mr. Patolo, I've seen you here before.
All right.
You can tell that you're a little bit apprehensive, but we don't bite. And when you first walked up, and I said, oh, man, we're about to be taken over because, both of you guys sitting down, but I noticed something different about you. So in the future, I'll give this to you.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. so you can look like your boss.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that's all I have, Mayor.
All right.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess I just have one question. I heard the San Andreas fault, and I guess I just want to know, like, what specific seismic safety measures will be incorporated for this new design?
Happy to answer that. The fault does actually run literally through that hill right there. So the new tank that we're looking to design, a concrete tank, will meet all new and existing standards on seismic safety. So it will be as seismically and structurally fit as we can with our current standards.
Okay, got it.
And just a quick question. When I heard steel, I thought recycling. So are we going to take that ourselves to get the money?
Usually what we do, and I don't remember if this is in the design, but usually we include as part of the design the removal of the materials, recycling as much as we can. So we'll see once we start taking the steel tank down, we'll see what condition it is. A lot of times that old steel, 1962 steel, is in can be in good
condition.
shape, but we'll see. It's right there at the coast, so a lot of corrosion has happened, of course, but it will work that into the design.
Yeah,
design.
with the recycling. Yeah, because there's money in those hills.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I don't see any more questions or comments from my colleagues. Can I get a motion to approve Reservoir 7 tank replacement design?
Motion to approve?
We got a first, we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Item number 6 is approved.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, everybody. Ooh, I love it. I should have had the applause at every meeting. Okay, moving on to communications. Item number 7, approve and authorize city manager to execute agreement for the improvements and use of the athletic fields at March Bank Park. And we have both our city manager
Yes.
and our city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start off. The recommended action tonight is to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Sacred Heart Cathedral Preparatory for the improvement and use at Marshbank Park, located at 10 Parkview Avenue in Daly City. I will tell you that the Sacred Heart is with us tonight. President Dr. Melinda Scrady is here, along with Phil Freed, the athletic director, and Mark Baginski from Verdi Design, who's done a lot of the design work. I think, as you recall, in 2022, I brought the concept to the council, and shortly after that, we entered into an MOU with Sacred Heart Cathedral to do some improvements at Marshbank Park. There's been some successful agreements between the two already with regard to other ball fields. So this was a natural thing that we could enter into or at least explore. A lot of work has gone in to get it to you tonight. Like I said, we did the MOU in 2022, and here we are in front of you for an agreement. The city attorney, staff from Daly City, and a lot of the individuals from Sacred Heart Prep and some of the construction and design people have worked hard to get it to this point in front of the council. So it's a great public-private partnership potential, and I think at this point, what I'd like to do is turn it over to the group from Sacred Heart, and they can actually get into more detail with the council and show you exactly what the plan is. It's exciting. So, is that appropriate, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Thank you so much. My name for everyone in attendance is Melinda Lawler Scrady, and I serve the mission of Sacred Heart Cathedral, the first Catholic high school in the city that predates the city of San Francisco by 2 years. And as a Christian Brothers school and a Daughter of Charity school, it is dedicated to its location just beyond the Tenderloin, and to this day is about almost 175 years old and keeps on ticking. And so on this beautiful day in commemoration of women and their contribution, the daughters answered a call from the city itself as it was in its inception to come to
this location in 1852, after the gold strike and silver strikes, there were orphans in the city that needed care and support. And so it was the Daughters of Charity that began this educational journey. And they always say, if you want to know how well someone did in school, look at their mother and see what the value is of an education and a mother's life for her children. And so the daughters became the mothers to these orphans. So thank you it's just a beautiful gift to be given. And you actually quoted one of the founder's quotes, which is, with persistence and perseverance, all that is left is steadfastness, and we will see ourselves to a better world for our children. So thank you for that. So everyone, today we are looking at Marchbank Park Field, and what we're looking at here is a beautiful field and with so much potential for the future. And we are called to serve a generation that is not yet born. They are our future. And so just like we say gateway to the peninsula, just like Daly City itself coming at one of the most difficult times in American history and world and global history, we need to stake out the goal, lay out the vision, the pathway, and then it's left to our charge. And if it was easy, anyone could do it. But together we can get so much better done in a private-public partnership. So I'll stop. Phil Freed, our athletic director, is here, and also serving the mission in his own role as athletic director.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I recognize all of you except Teresa. You're a new face on the council, so welcome. So I'm going to start from the beginning just to kind of give everyone an overview of truly where we've been and where we're planning on going. Because last time we were up here 2+ years ago, December of 2022, we talked about an idea. Tonight we have that idea coming to fruition in what has been put together by Verde Design and Mark Budzinski and his team that has gotten us to a very excited place right now that I'm sure you will be just as excited when you see some of these pictures here shortly. So just to kind of go back to the beginning. So this is just kind of a view of some fields that Verde Design has done. The one in the middle there is Beach Chalet. It's a beautiful picture from, as you can see, 10,000, 15,000 from above. Also there in this picture is, on the left over there, is Paul Good Field, which is another public-private relationship between the Presidio Trust and University High School. Both of those projects were done by Verde Design. So one thing that we did at Sacred Heart Cathedral in terms of public-private partnerships was we went into an agreement or partnership with City of San Francisco and Park and Rec for the James P. Lang Field, or the Margaret Hayward Park down on the corner of Turk and Gulf. And so this is a picture of what Lang looked back in 2016, okay? Tired, old, kind of run down. And this is what it looks like today in 2025. So this is a view from up top near our school on 1055 Ellis Street. We use this facility for all of our outdoor sports. Football, we practice down there. Soccer, we play and practice. Lacrosse, flag football, softball, PE, summer camps during the summertime. We rent from the city to hold summer camps from 9 to 3 for 6 or 7 weeks in the summertime. So it's been a huge asset for Sacred Heart Cathedral, and I think it's been a great partnership between us and the city of San Francisco. So back in 2019 is kind of when we entered into a relationship with Daly City. For those of you who've been here a while, Joseph Kern was the first person that I worked with very closely here in Daly City in terms of using some of your Park and Rec facilities. We were here in front of the council back in 2019 to talk about Westlake Park and some of the upgrades that we were hoping to do out there as we were hoping to use that facility. This is the North Diamond at Westlake Park for our baseball and softball teams. So what we did out here, that netting there is what Sacred Heart Cathedral put back in literally right before the pandemic. And the infield, even though you can't really see it, it got recut to be able to make the infield size for high school regulations. Even to this day, we are out there practicing both on the North Diamond and on the South Diamond as we speak. So, on to Marchbank. We began using it in 2020. At that time, we were sharing it with St. Ignatius. Because St. Ignatius had just come off, I do believe, a 15-year partnership with Daly City, and so the field now was open to be used by more than just St. Ignatius. So we were out there using it, and it was something that we found to be very desirable for us. And so we began thinking, what could we do out here to enhance this space? And so that's when the vision came in. I reached out to Mark Verde from Verde Design, Mark Wazinski from Verde Design, and asked him to come out, walk the site. I think that was somewhere in the summer of 2021, and we walked it, and he took some pictures, and he got an idea of what could be done out there. So our objectives for Marchbank Park: enhance the safety for both the players and spectators, enhance the experience of players and spectators, and then obviously increase the usage of the field and make it more operational and efficient in terms of its use. So what do these improvements look like? This is kind of where we ended up last time. And so I'm just showing you a series of pictures here of what Marchbank looks like today. So this is from home plate, looking to the outfield. You can see the scoreboard out there in center field. This is the backstop. So you're looking from the stands along the third base line there. This is the bathrooms and a little concession area right there, which is along the first base line. And then there's a third picture of the third base dugout. That's a picture of what it looked like before the tree fell down last year on the batting cages out there in left center field. Those batting cages are, as I'm sure you know, are not usable right now just because the damage done to them was very costly. And knowing that we were going to hopefully go forth with this project, it didn't make sense to make any improvements or repairs on that current batting cage. And then this is what this view looks like now. This is the first of about 8 pictures I will show you of what the vision is that we have for Marchbank Park. This took 2+ years to get to this place. We've asked Verde Design to work and engineer out this space to be able to make it wide enough to play pretty much any field sport possible. And that was always our vision, to be able to make Marchbank Park Field a multi-purpose field. It right now in its current state pretty much can only serve baseball. And we wanted to make sure that it could serve not only baseball, but all the other field sports that we play and that community members here in Daly City also participate in, whether it's youth, adolescent, or adult. So this is kind of the overview. You can kind of see the labels down there of what everything looks like. We have batting cages replacing the existing one out there in the center field area. We have a storage area that would be housing all the equipment, not only for the upkeep of the field, but obviously for the equipment that would be used by the different sports on the field. You can see the bleachers there behind home plate. You can see a set of bleachers down the left field line or the sideline. That would be for good viewing for anyone who were to watch soccer, football, or lacrosse played out there from a field sports perspective. This is when baseball's in play. You can kind of see the dotted line there, which I do believe is number 10, excuse me. You'll see the portable fence foul pole which would be from the center field all the way to the left field line. That's just the fence that you would put into play when you're playing baseball out there. And obviously that would be taken down when you are playing softball, and you'd have a portable fence in there at number 10 again on this picture that shows you the portable fence that you could put in for softball. And then if you were to change the field, well, that's the infield look from a baseball perspective. The lighter brown would be for the softball infield, and then the darker brown would be for the infield for baseball. And then here now, if you were to play football out there, okay, you take the lines out for both the fence out for both softball and baseball. You put portable goalposts in. You'll see there the goalposts are on the right-hand side over there, and then I think it's number 11 over on the first base side or by the building over there, which would be where the other end zone would be. And then if you did one more, this would be soccer. So you got the goals right there, number 12. You got the center mark there for the halfway point of the soccer field. And so now you have a field that can serve pretty much any sport. One sport that's not mentioned here, but it would be used, would be lacrosse. Lines is going to be a challenge in terms of what we put down permanently, what we don't put down permanently. We don't want it to look too busy, and that's something that Verde Design has some very good experience in, so they know that what works well and won't be too busy for the space. One other picture, this is from behind home plate. This would be the bleachers that you would sit in if it were a softball game or a baseball game. The bathrooms are there to the left. Right behind home plate is kind of our little press box area where you could, call the game from. You'll see the ramps going up. The first base line, you'll see dugouts, you'll see a bullpen, same thing down the left field line. So it's all pretty much way out there in center field. You can see number 13 would be the scoreboard and the batter's eye, for those of you who are into baseball and softball, just so that the batters are able to pick up the pitch coming out of the pitcher's hands. You have to have batter's eye, and that's what number 13 is out there in deep center field. And then this is kind of one other picture, which gives you a little bit closer view of what the storage area, what the scoreboard area would look like, and what that space outside of right field and center field would look like in terms of its configuration. It's going to get elevated a little bit, so there's going to be some retaining walls that are going to be put into there with an elevated walkway that will lead up to, you can see the stairs right there in between 17 and 18, and that will lead up to the park that's up above. And so, benefits for both Sacred Heart Cathedral and Daly City. Obviously, increased revenue for the city because of what you can do in terms of renting out to other user groups besides Sacred Heart Cathedral. SHC and Daly City community provide clinics and camps both in the wintertime and the summertime for residents of Daly City, as well as those who are interested in attending Sacred Heart Cathedral in the future. It's a new, improved community venue, something I think everyone will be very proud of. And then possible upgrades. We've talked about this before. We haven't really dove into it into any great degree, but it's something that Sacred Heart Cathedral, Verde Design are interested in helping the city of Daly City with that upper area in terms of new ideas for the playground, the basketball courts, the barbecue area that sits up above behind Marchbank Field. And this is kind of what Tom alluded to. This is things that we have talked about endlessly in terms of what the agreement would look like. And this is all pulled from what the current document says that Rose and Tom put together. And Sacred Heart Cathedral is definitely in agreement with the terms of this agreement and will be willing to enter into whatever relationship needs to be with regards to the Marchbank Park and Daly City. So that kind of brings us to the end. Kind of wanted to give you, like I said, a very good overview of where we've been and what we've done in the last 2+ years. Mark and Belinda and I have worked tirelessly, as well as Tom and Rose, in terms of getting us to this point. We're excited about what the future holds for Sacred Heart Cathedral in Daly City, and kind of chomping at the bit to get this job off and running. So,
I'm just going to add a few elements. Last time I was here, which was such a pleasure, and thank you for your kind attention, everyone. Some of the questions, they were really good questions about what about Daly City? What about the children of Daly City? We have just about 100 families that attend Sacred Heart Cathedral or are involved, and countless, I haven't counted them, that's why I'm using the word countless, alums that have come from Daly City, and then colleagues, workers, coaches. And one of the persistent questions that we receive is, what about the kids that don't get a chance to come to camps at Sacred Heart Cathedral? And so Tom asked us to consider that there would, God bless you, that there would be individuals, families that are in particular need to be part of this whole equation? And the answer is yes. We're mandated to do that. And it was a really important question that Vice Mayor asked last time I was here. How do we accomplish our own mission with the people of Daly City? So for everyone who's behind me, you can tell I'm a teacher. I don't like having my back. But for everyone who is here for the first time, we're mandated that our school population needs to be 10% underserved and desperately poor. We're also mandated by the Daughters of, that's the brothers and the daughters, we're also mandated by the Daughters of Charity that a certain number of students need to be 2 grades behind grade level who are in lower socioeconomic circumstances. And what comes that with is an attendant responsibility that a curriculum is a whole child approach. And if any of us have ever been part of a program, a moderated camp, we even have a camp where, God bless you, where they blow things up. You know, it's very popular with 7-year-olds. But what we do is we always have spots that are reserved so students can join us who otherwise would not be able. The coaches also reserve the right to have students join us from different schools, and that's really important too because the kids today, I come from the 70s and 80s, but the kids today are part of club sports, and so it's really important to keep the diversity and the strength of the community together. And then the other question that came up last time we were here is the demographic question. How do we as a school intentionally work to represent the fabric of society? Again, we are mandated to reflect the larger demographic realities of the city and also the Bay Area and also nationally what we're seeing going on with student populations. That is not easy in a city where more and more people are becoming older and look more aged out of the education system. And so we really are chasing the under 20 population through vans. I brought a van today if you saw it coming in. But we work really hard and provide those vans free, no cost, to go pick up kids who are willing to come in to school and yearn for an education from the school. So those are 2 or 3 important points that I was asked last time, and I wanted to repeat them for the record. Thank you.
Census tract is really an area with those most in need. And so to be able to put in scholarships for youth and young people is very important. I think even through some studies in like San Mateo County, that it's literally a census tract where most children are in need, and there are schools around that area that utilize that park, and so I'm glad to see that you are looking to literally work with ensuring that there's access to these type of programs that you all have provided. I know it's in your mission, but to see that written up there and also going to be codified in the agreement that Rose has put together is really important. When you think about really some of the youth and children that are in this neighborhood, a lot of them, some of them could actually be unhoused as well, maybe like living, in, couch surfing or whatnot. And so when you think about being able to impact a child's life by providing, something that they probably couldn't ever reach if they were to pay for these types of baseball camps is huge. And so I think that it's, to me, I'm really thankful that you listened to some of the concerns, because I believe that this is a great private-public partnership. I think that it's wonderful that we're coming together to build this partnership. But you heard also an aspect in which I think is aligned with your mission. And so I just wanted to say thank you for putting that on there. And it's been quite some time. I can't believe time is flying.
I know. As we were getting ready to do the presentation, I was asking Melinda, was it 23 or it's 2022? It's been a long time, yeah.
Yes, 2022 was definitely a year to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we're here now. And so I think, when we look at some of the models that you've done, especially, in San Francisco, and you see the before and after, it is quite a dramatic change. And so to see also, where, we're going to see a better, all the sports that are in there is wonderful to see, especially the football lines. I know that maybe when you first presented it, it wasn't there, and so it's really wonderful. I know that also Vice Mayor brought that up because we do have some like peewee leagues that do football and everything. So what I see here today is that you've listened to what our questions were back then and have actually put it into your design. I know we're here to approve it, but to me, I'm really, when you have a partnership and you hear that you've listened to the concerns that we brought forth maybe a couple years ago. I'll be very frank, there has been instances where maybe there was a development or whatnot, and they come back after 2 years, and you'd be quite surprised sometimes that they completely forgot some of the comments that we mentioned. And so to see your presentation and embed the comments that we have asked and questions to this date, it's really appreciated. I think that our community will benefit. I see that, that park really needs some, I think it was a pond before,
Yes.
And so to see it come towards, kind of what you said for the future as well, and to have kind of, more advanced opportunity for recreation is something very exciting. I just wanted to really highlight that point where I hope that the children in the neighborhood are able to really have the opportunity. I think whether it's the scholarships or programs that you all are gonna work together towards, because we know that sports is huge.
Yeah.
And that having the opportunity to real quality, training really makes a difference in young people's lives. It could be an opportunity or scholarship to another high school, right? Like as far as athletics. And so when you bridge that opportunity to young people that may not have the training to get, I have some friends that literally pay for training for their kids to have, one-on-one and all of these other pieces. But like I said, the community right surrounding the private-public partnership really needs it the most. And so I hope there's ways to ensure that we do outreach to Woodrow Wilson, we do outreach to Policita, we do outreach to Ben Franklin, and some of the neighboring, really these schools that, really are the young people that deserve to have, that training. So I'm excited. It's 2025 now. I can't believe we're here.
Yes.
And really look forward to seeing this come to fruition. So those are the rest of my questions. Mr. Mayor, I'm a proponent for this project from a couple years ago, and I'm a proponent for it now.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilmember Manalo. Councilmember Perano.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming, and I wasn't here in 2022, and I'm glad to be here to be part of this. I just had a few questions. With regards to artificial turf and natural turf, there's been some things on the news lately that's saying that perhaps artificial turf isn't the way to go for the children, for their knees. I say children, youth, for their knees, for their joints and all that. And I'm curious if that's something that, because I did see that it's going to be artificial.
That's correct, yes. So there have been stories about the perils of artificial turf. I will say, Lang Field is artificial turf. We have a small practice field across the street from our school that's artificial turf and has been artificial turf since 1998. Have I seen grave differences between one over the other during my time as an athletic director? I can't say I have. Not to say that, that's not necessarily the case. But, I don't know if Mark from Verde might be able to give a better answer, a little more reference than I could.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I think one of the things to keep in mind is that with the synthetic turf field, the benefits of that field are that you're providing a consistent surface over a long period of time. And part of the design process in the field is that we also incorporate below the field a pad, which helps with the energy restitution and rebound the athletes feel as they interact with the field. And surprisingly, a lot of higher end fields don't have that. They typically go very just the turf on the ground and that process. So I feel like what we're putting together for this and many of the projects that Phil highlighted at the beginning of the presentation provides the safest surface possible. The challenge we have is everybody loves natural grass. I was an athlete, grew up playing on natural grass, loved the smell and that whole thing. But there's a fine line between what, say, the Giants are playing on and what we're able to produce on a daily level at a community park or local high school. The amount of effort and energy to create that same field. So there's a lot of focus on the injuries of synthetic turf, but there's also the realities of what's happening in our natural grass world as well that are real struggles. But your point is, your question is a valid point.
Thank you. I just curious on that. Thank you for that. And then also parking, and that would be in the parking structure, but the walkway from wherever people are going to park, is there an entrance in the parking structure to get straight to?
That's one of the design solutions we're working on right now there's currently a set of, I think it's 3 risers of steps to get out of the parking garage. And we're looking to add a ramp to get people up to there and access to those parking stalls that are accessible in the garage.
Nice. Yeah, that would be, and then also, for the spectators, I saw that seating. Could you, how many people can you, yeah, there you go. That's pretty amazing. So how many people do you fit?
Do you remember?
I want to say down the left field line there, about 200 to 300.
Yeah.
And then I would say similar here behind home plate, 200 to 300. So if we were to max out, we'll probably be in about 500 or 600 people.
Nice.
I think one of the things that, the site poses a lot of challenges. It's in a bowl. You have the streets surrounding it from on high, and we need to get accessibility in there for the spectators and the athletes and people that would use it on a regular day as a park. And so this image is kind of a great image to show, we chose to bring people up the ramp to the upper area so where they could get to the restroom, have views out. If you look on that photograph, there's the gray building in the middle, that's the press box. To the left of that, there are small seats. Those are companion seats for accessible seating. So all of these things have been kind of integrated together into both of the bleacher areas. And so once you're up on that level, you can go to the bathroom, you can go over to the bleachers for the rectangular shaped field that are further down the left field line there as well.
So the reason I was asking too is so we would not, I would not want to see people who would come to visit or watch a game to be parking in the neighborhoods because parking's already an issue. So with that type of attendance, are there enough stalls in the parking structure? Because I know there's a certain level. I think it's second or third. I think it says parking third level, and then I'm sure
Yeah.
you would have enough.
There's that parking structure, and then there's one north of that. On
From the
other
movie
side of
theater.
The theater right there, that between those two, for the amount of people that would attend at the max point, I think there would be more.
You should be enough, yeah. Thank you for that. And so let's see here, the turf, the walkway, the parking. And so I would guess, and that would be more for our city manager, because we've been using Marchbanks Park for city events. Due to the fact that it's artificial turf, you wouldn't be putting tents or anything like that in there. So we probably wouldn't be using this for events.
Yeah, you're right, Kasaye.
It is our intent to use it in the future, and we wouldn't have to stake anything in there. We weight down the tents.
Way down, way down. Okay. Well, it looks amazing. It's absolutely beautiful. Great. I mean, thank you for presenting. Thank you for explaining. It really, probably the best one I've seen in a long time. So thank you very much. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Di Giovanni.
Thank you. Welcome back, and I don't know, like you said, 22, 23. I think you've been very busy during the COVID, gave a lot of time for the planning and the design. Beautiful design. I just have a couple of questions, and thank you for integrating the neighborhoods, because I know that there's a couple of daycares that are right adjacent to it that contacted me and said they would love to be able to take the little, the little ones, march them across, and you mentioned a playground, like, in that one other area, right?
Yeah, so it's up there, but number 20, I would be up above where number 20 is up there in that upper area. So that is.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said before, and we talked to Tom about this, that's something that, the city can work with us and Verde with to kind of get an idea of what your hopes and expectations are for that space, and somehow we can, integrate it into this project as we.
Yeah, a lot of walkable families. It's good to get them out, the exercise and all that, which I appreciate. The other question was, and based on Councilmember Parano's is that when she was talking about the parking around the neighborhood, do we currently, city manager, have residential stickers in that neighborhood for their parking in that particular neighborhood?
I'll look into it if
Yeah.
it extends
Because I was
into
just
that
thinking
neighborhood, but
if they have
I'm not aware of
residential
that.
parking, they might feel more comfortable. Yeah. But it looks good. It looks great.
One question we do have is that parking structure that's down the right field line.
Oh, yeah.
That's adjacent to that office building. That is owned by the office building, that's owned by Daly City.
T Station.
It's owned by Genesis.
Which one?
So it's the one the one that's in question where there's some steps that come
Right.
out of the parking area. Who owns that parking structure?
It's privately owned.
Yeah, privately owned, yeah. Because the life sciences people own that, use that, you're right. And then my other quick question was, community, that's great, because I know you do it. I would like to see, I don't think I've seen much lacrosse in our recreation. I don't know how we introduce that, but I was kind of excited to even hear something like that young people may be even introduced to. I'm not sure how. I guess you can work with the city manager to let these people know that there's other sports, like young people, and that they maybe, you never know, we can get a champion out of that. So there's a few champions, that you guys have produced. Oh, I see. Somebody's a lacrosse. Okay, there you go. So I didn't know that before, just to let people know. So no buttering up over here. Yeah. But when you said, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, bingo, that is excellent. Maybe something else that would be adjacent to that. And then, is there like, how we have at our Geller Park, there's like a path where people can walk around, or there's an intrusive probably when people are playing games,
So,
right?
and I don't know which picture.
Probably this one.
That walking path.
This one right here probably shows you the best.
Perfect. So people can.
We've maintained that circulation pattern that exists, between the field and the retaining walls. I think that's one of the things that is important on the school side, is that a lot of those retaining walls are starting to show their age, and they're starting to rotate over, and all those walls are being replaced as part of the project. So
if you look right, I got the pointer.
Right there?
It's right there. Number 19 would be the walkway space behind the field. And you could and it would go all the way and connect to the stairs that go up to the park.
So you could use it like as a nice walking path.
Through the chair?
Yes.
Yeah, this was an important consideration of the committee when we met, that there was the field, the access to continue for residents, whether there was play or not, either both at the main field and in the upper field. So the committee did address this, so thank you.
Okay, just a couple more through the mayor. So, this is actually exciting. So, it's going to look beautiful. The thing you thought, well thought out, I know that you are really taking consideration, based on the background, we know that how Sacred Heart is. So we don't have to revisit that. I know how they are. So taking in consideration of low-income children and any child, right? So, which would be accessible. The playgrounds looks great. I don't know if there's, so just so you know, they're gonna tear down the gym at Jefferson High School. And I don't know where you would put the basketball, but they are just looking for a temporary spot. And I don't know if our recreation can help them, but they are looking for a temporary. I don't know how temporary, but maybe through the city manager, maybe not with you, but somewhere. I just wanted to throw that out there because they saw this was gonna be on there, so they asked to get that out there.
So Jefferson High School
Yeah. They're gonna be tearing down their gym.
and redoing it in the same footprint, I take it?
I think they're gonna, yeah, they're,
Yeah, through the chair.
Yes.
They've been in contact with us, and Recreation is
Yeah.
working with them on potential venues temporarily for them. Yes.
yeah. And there's like, yeah, 2, 3. So but a lot of interest, you guys have spurred, which I think is an excitement and a positivity, because sports, as we all know, any of us that have played sports know that it brings a lot more than just the sport, right? It brings more skills as a human being. I'm going to cry because these are the things we carry with us as we move forward in our lives. Whether we can even physically play the sports that we used to, when I used to play beach volleyball, or not, as as a coach said. And yet that's your family. I mean, the kids are your family, right? Yeah, that's how it becomes. So, which I think is great to have a good role model. I'm excited. Welcome. And when do we start? I don't know.
That's the
But
question.
and great design. You guys working in for our city manager. Thank you for doing and then and Tatum. I see Miss Mother said. Thank you.
So Mark has been working with the city. We're at 90% submittal, I do believe, or close to
Yeah,
getting
we're
it.
getting there, yep.
Because I know she's a big advocate for the community. I hear great things from people that work with her, so thank you. So I think that's all I have, and looking forward to it. Whether you have a concession stand or not, I don't know, but looks good. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time, and welcome back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember- Yes.
Just a quick question. I was just looking, I see all the lines and numbers, but do you have stadium lighting?
At this time, we're putting in the infrastructure for stadium, not stadium, but for lighting.
Right.
But we will come back and speak with the neighbors about, this is the kind of lighting, because lighting is changing so much technologically.
Yeah, it has.
Even when we did Lang Field to Terra Nova today is so different that I think the technology is gonna get better. So that it's very direct, very focused, on and off.
Yeah.
Not like, I come from Chicago originally, not that broadcast light.
Right. Yeah. So you can't sit on your roof and watch? No.
But it's fun to do that.
Yeah. Thank you. I was just curious because I see all this and I go, wait a second, there's something missing. So anyway, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mayor.
you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to see you folks back. I was walking in today, scratched my head, smiley faces, and recognizable. And now I see. So thank you again for coming back. Thank you for addressing most of the questions that this council had prior. There were a lot of questions. And Ms. Scrady, I'd like to compliment you on how dynamic and fluid you are when giving your presentation. When just events happened today, you managed to incorporate 4 areas, and that is Women's Commission, the quote by Councilmember Manalo, the usage of the term gateway, and there was one other, and it was going so fast I didn't write it down. So I just want to give the good points first. Obviously, I am concerned, and I have some more questions. I understand by reading and based upon what you've presented today, the contract, and how you reiterated the advantages to the community, underserved community youth, and other areas, okay? But what I didn't get is a couple of questions that I'm hoping that you can provide to me. I'll start off first with the city manager. At Marchbank Parks, what are we getting in the sense of revenue from Marchbank Parks at this time?
Very little.
Thank you. That's what I thought.
There's maybe two groups that
Right.
actually rent it, and it's on and off. But
All
I
right.
mean, if we want to get into detail, Park and Rec's here. But yeah,
Okay,
very little at this time. We're not maximizing that site at all.
okay. So subsequently, reading the contract, we're looking at $100,000 per year for 15 years. That equates to 1.5 million. I'm going to be frank. What will it cost Sacred Heart to do this renovation? Just a rough estimate.
It'll take, so right now, we're at $871,000 in research and development.
Just research and development, yes.
And then we would, with your approval and your support, we would continue forward. The first phase will be $7 million in the first year. Today, the finance chair restricted those monies. And then next year, because academic years are staggered over chronological years, so the next academic year, it would also be another $7 million. So all in, it'll be a $15 million project. We see that as not only a wonderful investment, but a prudent investment, and we believe that the community will experience extreme positive impact, especially on their values in the neighboring residential area. Furthermore, we think the revitalization of this area will be a real boom. You bring in a couple hundred, we can't actually do our larger events because they draw 8,000. We had to use Chase Center for our basketball game. So we want to be really careful about the care and the curation of this beautiful community setting, but we also want to be involved as a sponsor and a supporter. We think that all boats will rise as a result of the project. We've already seen this in this other public-private partnership that our former mayor took in her care in San Francisco. Speaking of women.
Thank you very much. In the paperwork that I've seen here, nowhere is it mentioned what you folks are doing other than for the community, renovating a park, but the actual cost. And, you know, in the business sense, we always look at ROI. But you mentioned a word today that it's really not ROI in this particular instance, but basically prudent. And basically what we get as a result, and that's for our future generations. So I thank you so much for that. What- City manager answered my other question. One of the council members kind of alluded to it earlier, and it's been said that we in Daly City, we do have events. And I have read it because a master schedule will be generated, I guess, every quarter to be presented to the city so that we can help coordinate with our events. For instance, we have Kasiyahan out there. And in looking at the hours of the usage, I see weekdays till 6:30 p.m. You know, so you probably use it during the day, but after 6:30, you won't. But what caught my eye was the weekends, and it says 2 p.m. So I guess we'll have to coordinate with Kasiyahan to make sure that it's either, well, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But that's a concern that I have because it's an annual thing that we have. And
Ms. Mayor?
yes.
You may remember that the first time that we appeared before you, that was a question that was posed.
Uh-huh.
And we would be a participant in that process and a sponsor during that event. So this is all good for our community because we get to meet and help a pipeline programming that will enhance and strengthen the communities that we both serve.
Well, you know what? I'm glad I brought that up because I wasn't expecting you to say that. What I was expecting is that hopefully we can continue to have it. But when you say you are willing to be a willing participant in it, that's even better. So I'm glad we were able to work out that as well. I think that's very important. to our city manager, when we get the schedules and we have to coordinate, I guess this is going to come under Park and Rec? Park and Rec, like for scheduling
Yes,
or?
for the programming.
Yes.
In the future Marshbank, yes.
Yes.
The other thing is Casa Yahan will be moved to Gellert this year if this project goes forward. So we've already made provisions for that for this year.
Well, good, you're one step ahead of me, sir. Just want to make sure, even if it's going to be moved, I would hope that Sacred Heart would still take a part in it too.
I think they're committed to that.
Okay, now, one last part, and that was on the contract that I've read. This is for initial 15-year lease term. I'm concerned when we renegotiate, it indicates 2 5-year leases later on. I'm just wondering why such a long length? Can we do 5 years at a time? It seems like we're going to negotiate, once 15 years is up, I probably won't be here, but then 10 more years is automatic upon parties' mutual agreement. I mean, why 10 years? Why 2 5-year leases? Is this a way out for either Sacred Heart or Daly City, rather than to be tied down to?
It really was just mutually decided upon that there are leaders, we are just caretakers, and there will be leaders who will have things that we can't even think of right now that they'll need to deal with. And so we didn't want to lock both entities institutionally and into an entanglement. But we hope that it continues and it renews itself over and over again. We're in several different partnerships throughout the city
Sure.
of San Francisco.
Right.
That 15 years goes like that. It's just
Okay.
amazing to me.
Okay, but I don't want to tie the city down, or neither do I want to tie you down to say 10 years. So what I'm hearing from the contract language, and maybe Rose can help me, is that it will either be a 5-year term or at the most 2 consecutive 5-year terms at one time. Is that, am I getting that right? In other words, we're not going to be locked in. We're going to give you at least a 5-year, but you have the option on both sides that you can do 2 5 years at one time.
I yield to Rose.
You want to know what section that was, Rose?
Yes, I know the section.
Oh.
Section 2.
Oh, you wrote it, huh? No, I'm just being facetious.
That's a deal point that can be discussed. So the way it currently reads is you get 5 and then you get another 5. So you have 10, and then after that 5, you'll get another 5. But I guess what you're suggesting is you want to have the option to include the 10 as an option?
What I want to do is have the option to protect both sides. It's automatic 5. But if both sides mutually agree, the maximum you can get at the time of negotiation of the new lease or new contract is up to 10 years, 2 5-year terms.
Right, and that's exactly how it reads.
Okay.
So you do have it, and while it is a may, so it's not an automatic, so both parties agree to the extension of the 5 years, each additional 5 years.
I appreciate that because, as you made mention, we don't know what's going to, 15 years is going to come by very fast. And our city manager, if you're still here, you may say, no, I'm just wishing good things, but you know, I'm just looking out for the future. We may want to negotiate maybe like a inflationary aspect. Instead of $100,000 a year, might be $130,000 or $103,000. No, I just don't want to lock us in because you got $100,000, or we're getting $100,000 for at least 15 years, to which we're not getting anything, hardly any now. So I'm just addressing those. Yes, sir.
One other thing that came into play with the numbers is just the lifespan of a field. So
Oh.
typically it's 10 years. So if we, at 15 years, we would be into the life of our second field, about halfway through. Now, depending on how well we upkeep it and how well it's maintained, you know, we can maybe push that out to 12 years, possibly, but 10 is a typical lifespan of a field. So 20 years, 15 plus 5 is 20, will get us to the second field. If we go to 10, because the second field is doing well, and we feel confident that we'll get to a third field maybe in the late 20s. I think that also came into play in terms of the numbers.
That's a part I didn't even think about, because also in the contract, it also makes mention that Sacred Heart will continue to maintain the field. And if there are any upgrades, of course, Sacred Heart would do so. Should we not have a deal say, after 15 years, the city is not liable, as per the contract, to pay for the previous construction and the previous maintenance of the field. So I think not only, I hate to say win-win situation, but I think for the city of Daly City is a win-win-win. Just my thoughts. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, so I just want to say thank you again. I think I was mayor when y'all came in the first time around. This is like the second. Yeah. So thank you for just, looking at the designs and like keeping up with the integrity and essence of the community. Just wanted to have a quick question. So will there be like Sacred Heart logos on the field or anything?
No, we don't foresee that. No,
Okay.
no.
So,
We will be more willing and happy to put it out there, but no, that's not our intent.
If I could just make a
yes, please, Doc.
We're really not allowed, if you drive by our school, you can't even tell who we are. We're
Yeah.
not allowed to call attention to ourselves.
Got it.
And so we may have times when there's tournaments or banners that you put
Mm-hmm.
up, but we're not allowed to take our apparatus or our insignia and put it on somebody else's. It's against the very history of this land. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, I was. Thank you.
I will say, last week we've been meeting pretty regularly with the contractor that we're hoping to use, as well as Verde, just as we get closer and closer to what we hope is the beginning of this project. And just to let you know, we're projected 15 to 18 months is the time frame for the project. We're hoping to get this done soon here in the spring of 2025, because as you can see there, out in the left field area, as well as in the right center field area, there's retaining walls. And that's going to be a big part of the project, and not only in cost, but more importantly, in time. And to make sure that we're able to get near completion of that part of the project before the rainy season hits again in late 2025, early 2026 is key to keeping this project on schedule. So we're hopeful that, as we keep pushing through the permitting process, that we can get to a good place quickly so that we can start sticking shovels in the ground and getting this job off and running.
Another question. I know I saw that graphic behind home plate, and I just want to be courteous of like our DC station neighbors. Is that basically like regulation netting? So I was thinking like if foul balls occur, will that, how far would a foul ball hit our neighbors?
That's the eternal question. It's like the Tootsie Roll Pop question. The backstop, it's hard to see in the rendering, but the backstop has a hood that's made of netting.
Got it.
So we're going to capture most of the foul balls that go out.
Okay.
At 30 feet high, we capture a lot of the flares. Like if you're a baseball guy, a foul ball flare that kind of arcs out to the side, which is a line drive. Once you get above that 30 feet, the balls are tending to go more vertical and they travel less there. Not saying it's all of them. We've done countless trajectory studies, and you practically can't build netting high enough to capture everything. It's that variable.
Okay.
We think it's going to capture a vast majority of them. The thing that we're really looking at are people walking by. We want to make sure that people are protected. for all the balls that can be played out there. That's a big thing. And then when you look at the left-hand side, the other part of the netting is to try and keep balls in play and less balls going up on the hillside and having people have to chase after them.
Thank you. Okay. And then my last thing is, I know we're just looking at just this specific phase here, but I just want to consider, like, if we ever get to looking at like the March Bank as a whole and the playground area, the basketball area, and that one midsection area, if we ever get to that point, if we could like consider like landscaping enhancements where we could have like
Public art.
well, public art would be nice, but also things like drought-resistant plants, anything that's kind of like related to
Good.
sustainability
Yeah.
and all that. And then also, I think when we had our meeting with the Development Committee and Councilmember Manalo and I were talking about that midsection that looks like a circular area above that area. I don't know if we could capture that in the graphic, but
It's right
you
there
know,
above 20.
yeah, up beyond 20. There's that section. If we could consider like maybe a fitness or install outdoor exercise stations. I know that is kind of like a growing trend that I see at other cities, where it's just not just a circular field, but then people can do circuit training. But all in all, I just say this is like I would say it's a gift to both our institutions, both in Daly City and Sacred Heart. Not opportunities that like this do not happen every day, and I'm really, really appreciative that this item has came before us. And I don't want to drag this any longer, but I'll open up if anybody has any other questions.
No, but through the mayor, you want, on that line, I just want to say, it's an economic benefit in other ways too, because we have those restaurants,
yeah.
in the front, and people go to the movies, but I think this will draw, maybe people will be hungry afterwards, and then once we get another good restaurant where there's an empty space, that I think that area will be more vibrant as well. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
Quick, thank you, Mayor. I would ask the city manager and perhaps planning, we talked about the egress and ingress of patrons coming onto that field. And if we're going to enter a 15-year lease, would you provide Sacred Heart what's coming? Because if I'm not mistaken, we do have entitlement to build a big combination hotel residences right in that area. It's
Oh,
coming.
yeah.
And so as you're planning
Conference.
a conference center, a physical workout place, that's coming. So, but right now, it's coming, so at least just know about it in your future planning. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
All right.
Through the chair. I would also like to recognize that this field, it's an opportunity for the fastest growing sport in the nation in high school, and that's girls flag football.
Yeah.
Girls flag football. So that's an opportunity where they wouldn't have had before. So since we were talking about the Women's Commission and women's success, well, I think that's a good thing to point out, is the opportunity for that to be a flag football field as well.
That's so awesome.
Any other comments or questions? Can I get a motion to adopt the resolution by roll call vote?
Motion to approve?
Glenn
Second.
Sylvester, second.
Okay. City Clerk, you can get,
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Ms. Perano,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo,
Aye.
Dr. Rod.
aye. Thank you.
We were like little kids, right?
So moving along to award of bids and contracts. Item number 8, appropriate funds and award construction contract for the Santa Barbara Avenue and Vista Grande Avenue Green Stormwater Infrastructure and Pedestrian Improvement Project. And we have Mr. Chu and
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm going to introduce Alex Yuen, who's going to give the presentation for this item. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
So good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the design documents for the Santa Barbara Avenue and Vista Grande Avenue Green Stormwater Infrastructure and Pedestrian Improvement Project. In addition, affirm the CEQA determination of categorical exemption, accept all bids and award a construction contract for bid schedule A and add alternate 1 to FJ&I Engineering of San Pablo, California in the amount of $173,495. In addition, reallocate $14,316.55 from the MRP Trash Collector Project, account 87-920-811, to project account 17-312-816. Appropriate $100,398 of unallocated general CIP funds from Fund 33, and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute all necessary contracts to complete the project. Part 1 of the Santa Barbara Avenue and Vista Grande Avenue Green Stormwater Infrastructure Pedestrian Improvement Project includes the construction of new bioretention planters within the sidewalk along the northeastern side of Santa Barbara Avenue, adjacent to the Vista Grande Avenue intersection. The bioretention planters will capture and treat stormwater flowing from the street and sidewalk in the area. The project also includes the construction of a new ADA-compliant curb ramp to improve accessibility, as well as the installation of new traffic devices to enhance the safety for pedestrians traversing through the area, which includes students that attend the local Woodrow Wilson Elementary School. The Santa Barbara Avenue and Vista Grande Avenue Green Stormwater Infrastructure and Pedestrian Improvement Project is partially funded by the North San Mateo County Sanitation District for the stormwater components of the project. The project is part of a settlement agreement and stipulation for entry of administrative civil liability order between the California Regional Water Quality Control Board, San Francisco Bay Region Prosecution Team, and North San Mateo County Sanitation District. This supplemental environmental project is undertaken as part of a settlement for a regional water board enforcement action against the North San Mateo County Sanitation District. The construction bid documents were prepared by Sage Consultant Engineers of San Francisco, California. The project was advertised on February 2nd, 2025, and 8 bids were received on February 25th, 2025. The total bids ranged from $411,910 to $883,493. Determination of the lowest responsive bidder was based on the lowest combined total of bid schedule A, which is part 1 of the Santa Barbara Avenue Green Infrastructure Project, bid schedule B, which is part 2 of the Santa Barbara Avenue Green Infrastructure Project, and add alternate 1. A formal bid protest was submitted by the second lowest bidder, Zara Construction, on February 28, 2025. The basis for the bid protest was that the apparent low bidder, FJ&I Engineering, had computational errors or omissions in their proposal. This led to a potential unrealistically low bid. After a detailed review of the bid protest document submitted by Zara Construction, the bid documents from FJ&I Engineering, and relevant state public contract codes, city staff recommends that the bid submitted by FJ&I Engineering be deemed responsive to the bid solicitation. FJ&I Engineering of San Pablo, California has been in business since 2017. This bidder holds the required Class A contractor's license, which is current and in good standing. The contractor's references for work performed for other public agencies, including the City of Larkspur, City of El Cerrito, City of Walnut Creek, and City of Vallejo, were satisfactory. Due to funding constraints, staff is recommending the award of bid schedule A and add alternate 1 only at this time. If approved, construction is anticipated to commence in April 2025 and be completed by the end of 2025. The total estimated construction cost for bid Schedule A and add alternate 1 of the Santa Barbara Avenue, Vista Grande Avenue Green Stormwater Infrastructure and Pedestrian Improvement Project is $208,194. This includes the $173,495 construction contract and $34,699 of construction contingency, contract administration, and staff time. Currently, $93,479.45 is available in Transportation Fund, project account 17312-816. An additional $114,714.55 is needed to fully fund the project. This action would reallocate $14,316.55 from the MRP Trash Collector Project Account 87920811 to project account 17312-816 and allocate $100,398 of unallocated general CIP funds from Fund 33 to fully fund the project. So in conclusion, at this time, staff recommends that the City Council approve the design documents for the Santa Barbara Avenue and Vista Grande Avenue Green Stormwater Infrastructure and Pedestrian Improvement Project, affirm the CEQA determination of categorical exemption, accept all bids, and award a construction contract for bid Schedule A and add alternate 1 to FJ&I Engineering of San Pablo, California in the amount of $173,495. Reallocate $14,316.55 from the MRP Trash Collector Project Account 87920811 to project account 17312-816. Appropriate $100,398 of unallocated general CIP fund from Fund 33, and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute all necessary contracts to complete the project. Staff is available to answer any questions that City Council has.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex. That, I'd like to open up to my colleagues, if you have any questions, comments. Councilmember Manal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the pedestrian safety improvements, what are they exactly? I know there are no photographs. I just wanted to kind of visualize.
So for the ped safety, like traffic device aspect, there would be painted bulb outs.
Okay, so yellow.
Not necessarily yellow. It could be a variety of colors. In this case, we call it out paprika. It's a kind of a red.
Paprika, I got it. Like the seasoning.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
In addition, though, we also will be putting in some reflectors, and they're not full bulb outs, but they're elevated.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
I would call them elevated platforms.
Okay.
This was in consideration of the fire trucks in particular. So no vertical delineators. It's more so reflectors on the ground.
Okay, and then the bulb outs are obviously on the sidewalks, but how about
Oh, the bulb outs will be adjacent to the curb ramp itself.
oh, the curb. How about like the main like thoroughfare on Vista Grande? Is there anything that you're doing there?
On the main thoroughfare of Vista Grande, not so much, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Manalo.
No, great job.
Vice Mayor.
Excellent.
I just have one quick question. I guess my question revolves around promotion. Has this been already communicated with like the Woodrow Wilson School or any of the neighbors around?
Great question.
Yeah.
We will be contacting and informing the residents in the area as well as the school of the project itself. However,
Okay.
at this time, we have not had previous interactions with the school and residents in the area.
Okay. Thank you.
I would like to add that the city staff has worked with the school as well as the Department of Education in regards to walk audits that was done. Woodrow Wilson was one of the schools that did have walk audits, and some of the recommendations there was in terms of doing things like bulb outs and things like that to facilitate the pedestrians and the kids walking to school.
Great. All right.
Through the mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, even though the walkout was done, it's nice to see that you guys are like doing it's been a while, but now you're going to that one after you go there, then you go to George Washington. So again, you can't be any prouder than these people. They're working with the county and everyone else, so we're very lucky. It's exciting to see the project come to fruition. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. With that, I don't see any other questions, comments. Can I get a motion to adopt the resolution by roll call vote?
Motion to adopt resolution?
I've got a
Second.
first and a second. Ms. City Clerk?
Ms. DiGiovanni?
Aye.
Ms. Perrano?
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester?
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo?
Aye.
Dr. Rod?
Aye. All right, thanks, Alex.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
Okay, getting down to ordinances, to agenda item number 9, second reading of ordinance number 1480, amending the Daly City zoning map, rezoning 2150 Geneva Avenue from light commercial to heavy commercial C2. So I'll hand it over to our city attorney.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. This is the second reading for adoption for ordinance number 1480. That involves the amending the Daly City zoning map, rezoning 2150 Geneva Avenue from light commercial C1 to heavy commercial C2.
Yes, Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
Yes, Madam City Attorney, is this public information?
Yes,
This is public information?
yes.
The whole document for tonight's meeting.
Oh,
This. Mr. Piccolotti, is this public or like posted on our website or whatever?
Yeah.
As part of the
Oh,
agenda,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, would you kindly correct the spelling error from light commercial to heavy commercial?
It says having. Good
Okay.
catch.
It says heaving commercial.
oh, I see it. Heavy.
I mean, I just make us look good.
We
You're right,
will
it's a
make the
typo.
correction.
Thank
We,
you.
we will do better.
All right, thank you. I'm just having fun up here, don't mind me.
Heavy.
All right. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Okay, with that, can I get a motion to adopt the ordinance by roll call vote?
Motion to adopt ordinance. I just want to say thank you for the amendments that were included from our last meeting, and I see them delineated and read today. Thank you.
Can I get a
Second.
Okay. Hand it over to you, Ms. City Clerk.
Ms. DiGiovanni?
Aye.
Ms. Perrano?
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester?
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo?
Aye.
Dr. Rod?
Aye. Item number 9 passes, and we're headed to item number 10, second reading of ordinance number 1481, approving development agreement between the City of Daly City and Cormorant Energy Storage LLC.
Motion to approve.
Glenn Sylvester,
Second.
second.
And this was actually the item that I was saying, added all of the line items in the development agreement. But I see it clearly here, the items within using union skilled labor, as well as delineating the fire training. I think that it's everything that we talked about there.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Councilmember Perrano.
Thank you. I just wanted to just revisit just the little request that I had. I think you said it was 319, right? 319. So I just wanted to confirm that my request, what it reads is 319 developer extraordinary benefit obligation, additional community outreach, notwithstanding the city's compliance in all legal noticing requirements for the project prior to commencement of construction. Developers shall host additional public outreach meetings targeted to and for the Bayshore neighborhood. I just wanted to make sure, because I know that's all legal talk, but I wanted to make sure that that included a letter of, because now it's already been approved, or it's going to be approved. So that it in fact is kind of like a reach out to the community to let them know what's happening in their neighborhood, and that it be the distance that I requested. I think I requested 2 miles, because that is, 2 miles is where that other project had been evacuated. So I thought at least 2 miles out, and to at least let the community know what's happening in their backyard. And I just wanted to make sure that this means that.
So the amendments included was targeting the Bayshore neighborhood, which my understanding, the Bayshore neighborhood through planning and the census tract included beyond the 300 feet neighborhood.
Yeah.
But if I were to look at it, I couldn't say that that was 2 miles, which is within the spirit of what you wanted in the amendment. That's not to say we can add that. And we also wanted to include that outreach meant mailers and flyers and outreach, beyond to have the outreach meetings. So I know that the project sponsor is here. We could add language, and I can propose language if you like. I was thinking of no addition outreach meetings targeted to and for the Bayshore neighborhood, no less than
Yeah.
miles radius of the project site.
Yes, because
For the public outreach to include
correct.
that.
I feel better. I would feel better because that was our discussion, and 300 feet is here to there. So I've just, they seemed my request seemed well received at the time. I just wanted to make sure that it's in writing that we do that. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm Josh Kuhn.
Hold
Brought
on.
Hold on.
One second.
Sorry.
Hold on. To address Councilmember Perano's thoughts, I wanted to give a comment, but you know what? I think it's more prudent that we hear from you first.
Sure.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Go
Mr.
right
Mayor.
ahead.
Thank you for having me this evening. I'm Josh Kuhn. I'm our Vice President of Development. I think you listened to, or you heard from our whole squad a couple of weeks ago. I was in the background there, but you're stuck with me tonight. So we worked with Rose to try to address your comment, and we felt that reaching out to the Bayshore community was the best way to approach that. We're not sure exactly how many residences that would be for the whole 2 mile radius, but I think that could be, upwards of 20, 30,000 people. And really the people that were in the community, directly around the project itself, I think was what we understood to be the intent of your request. So do we know how many people that would potentially be?
Well, may I?
Yeah.
Okay, so my concern is that, God forbid, there be a fire, and at Moss Landing, they evacuated over 2,000 residents from that area within 2 miles. So my concern is for the people, and I understand, and at the time I did mention it, and if I recall correctly, the city manager said they could help work with you guys on that. So again, what I had said was, I didn't want to look back and have somebody say we didn't do our due diligence. 300 miles, even a half a mile from, I used to go to the drive-in. I know exactly where that is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new builds and new houses. So my concern is for the people who bought homes there, what they need to know. And I did bring this up at the last meeting, and I got nods, but I didn't get an answer. Do houses because of this type of project, can these home values go down? Can their insurances go up in light of the fire at Moss Landing? I'm not saying there's going to be a fire. What I liked about your presentation was how thorough you were explaining how everything's separate and how things are going to be made, and it's just, top of the line and most. But my concern is that I don't want somebody to come back and say, you put it in a paper that we don't get, you gave 300 feet, and, that's like if somebody in their residence do something and you tell them 300 feet. This is a major project. So that's my concern. So if it can be stated properly that you will be contacting people, not just community groups, because that's already been done, but actually send a letter. I don't think it's 200,000 people. So I'm just.
I'm honestly not, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
no.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. I mean, city of Daly City, the entire city of Daly City, what do we have? 300,000?
120.
100, exactly. So you're not going to get 200,000. But the city manager had said at the time that he would work with you all. So contacting the people, they get a letter. If you want to go ahead and put it in the San Francisco Chronicle, that would be more doable than the Examiner. That's all I'm asking, is that we make sure people know what's going on in their neighborhood. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
They did outreach, right?
Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
Thank you, Mayor. Last time we spoke about this, I had concerns about following the law, and that was 350 feet. But I think this is a particular time that we can call for an exception, because 350 feet could encompass part of the lot of where this project is going. So subsequently, if the 350 feet is satisfied, it's really no indication of all upon notice. But yet, on the other hand, a mile consists of 5,280 feet. 2 miles consist of 10,560 feet. I cannot see, and I can't support to make changes to this, which I feel is very unreasonable. What I'd be willing to consider is taking the total lot size of the Cow Palace and then going out 350 to 500 feet from there. But I think going out and requiring 10,560 feet is really not reasonable at all. So I want to give Mr. Mayor, everyone a chance to weigh in on this. This is my thoughts on it. And as a reminder, there is a motion on the floor, but I believe in giving every colleague here a chance to speak on it, and instead of forcing calling the question. Thank you.
To the mayor.
Councilmember
Thank you. Just real quick, I remember when you did I think Councilmember Sylvester and I were, maybe the other council members were at the Cow Palace. And I think you guys did a large outreach then. Do you remember approximately what that was? Because it wasn't, you didn't invite groups, but you invited, I know you did a big outreach.
Yeah, I don't recall the exact mechanisms. We did things like post on Nextdoor. We posted up in the Bayshore Community
Yeah,
Center
you did.
bulletins and things like that. But I don't think there was a specific mailing distance for that
Right,
event.
because I remember, yeah. But you did do I remember it was a larger one
Yes.
in the community because a lot of families got it. And then to our council member over in the condos next to Carter Martin, a lot of people received it as well.
Yeah.
And in that area. And then the new development next to the Bayshore, they also got it in surrounding area, if I remember that correctly.
Again, I don't recall the exact radius, but there were some mailers sent out to local HOAs and local communities around the project, much larger than 300-foot area, because we understand that our
Yes.
project is, in a basin. There's not a lot of houses in the direct vicinity, but there are still homes in the wider vicinity that we did send mailers to HOAs at that time.
Yeah,
And that was
so-
roughly a year ago today.
So with that, I think that what Councilmember, I don't want to speak for Councilmember Sylvester, is that they did do, I mean, they'll do it again, but they did go beyond the 350. I know you guys did that when you did the Cow Palace, for
And
sure.
Another avenue that we can explore, rather than maybe the mailers of every home within 2,000 or 10,000, feet, something we've explored in the past is the idea of community letters at all the HOAs within a certain distance.
Their
We're open to
HOAs
exploring
are
that as
not,
well.
pardon me, through the mayor.
Yes.
Would you consider a mile? A mile's not that far. Again, what I'm looking at is if you, and the mayor has it on a map, when you look at the Cow Palace, when you look at that, how big, may I ask, Allison, how large is the land? How many miles or? 68 acres. And what would that turn into in miles?
I think we can work with a mile radius, and we can do mailers for that.
Yeah, I think what, you know, I don't think I'm asking that much. I understand you've done a lot. I just feel that if at the meeting, someone had said you guys went out a mile, if someone had said you put it in the San Francisco Chronicle, I don't think I'd be here asking these kind of questions.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And we can certainly explore avenues like that in addition to the mile radius.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Manal.
Thank you, Mayor, for that. I want to thank the project sponsor for coming up. I think I have a motion on the floor. I will, since the project sponsor was amenable to a 1 mile outreach, I'll do the friendly amendment for that. Thank you.
Glenn Sylvester, Mr. Mayor, since I seconded, I would gladly accept it and second as well.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay. So we have a motion and a second for making the amendment to a mile radius from where the Cow Palace ends, right? So where are the Cow Palaces and then a mile radius?
Just to clarify, is this from the project parcel? Because we're not on the Cow Palace property exactly. Just to clarify, I would assume it's a mile from the project address, just spanning outwards in a circle.
Got it. Okay, so, so not the Cow Palace, but the project.
But the project
Correct.
is,
Yeah.
Would you, pardon me, through the mayor, would you be able to tell me how large your project area is?
We're about 8 3/4 acres.
Okay.
Just under 9 acres of
So
disturbed area.
9 acres, and I'm sorry, I'm really bad with that, but how many miles would that be?
I would ballpark it probably less than a 1/4 mile by a 1/4 mile. It's not a large site in terms of
So that would
mileage.
give us the property you have, and then from there, just 1 mile?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more doable?
Yeah, that's like 0.0125 square miles.
Another maybe point of clarification, is this expected like a mile in total radius or in Daly City specifically?
I think we only have jurisdiction.
I know that San Francisco is probably in your backyard. Is that correct? Yeah.
I believe the boundary is right around Geneva, yes.
And I can't just say I worry about Daly City residents. I would say that, to be fair, you probably want to take it.
I think we can work with city staff to connect with potentially the San Francisco planning staff as well to make that happen.
Thank you.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
May I,
Yes, Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
how many acres was it again?
8 acres?
The project site's just under 9 acres.
Excuse me. You're right. It's 0.014 of a mile. Thank you for that. And just a reminder to my colleagues, we do have other projects coming up in that area. And I'm not going to forget, I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Any project coming up at the Cow Palace should be subject to the same contingencies as we're doing here today. Just my comment. Any project that comes up in the Cow Palace.
I agree.
May I, through the mayor, the only reason I'm saying this is because of the danger. Not all projects coming up will be dangerous, potentially. I pray nothing ever happens, really. But this is just a little different than building a building. It's building something very special. That's all.
All right. Thank you for my colleagues for your insightful discussion and concerns. I think it's fruitful conversation in terms of this project and, you know, our community out there in the Bay Shore. So I know there's a first and a second, so I guess we can proceed to roll call vote, please.
If I may, just for clarification through the mayor, just want to clarify the motion. So we have an approval of the second reading for the development agreement, which is an uncodified ordinance, with the friendly amendments to include a outreach and mailings to 1 mile radius from the project site, to include language that pertains to that. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Thank you, Rose.
Ms. Giovanni,
Aye.
Ms. Perano,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Manalo,
Aye.
Dr. Ryan.
Aye. Thank you. All right. So moving along. Thank you for coming again.
No problem.
All right. So moving to appointments, board commission membership committee appointments. Is there anybody that we have to appoint? Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this particular time, I would like to make an appointment to the Personnel Board. Miss Christina Burnell.
Second?
Got a first. We have a second. I'll go ahead and second it. All those in favor say aye.
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 Welcome to the Personnel Board, Christina.
Wonderful choice, Vice Mayor.
I knew you'd agree with me.
Moving on to reports. Item number 11, council committee reports. Are there any council committee reports? Vice Mayor Glenn Sylvester.
All right, I'm sorry I didn't get my paperwork together, but I got 2 committee reports. We had deferred from the last meeting because it went quite some time. San Mateo County Pre-Hospital Emergency Medical Services Group. We met on February 19th, and the biggest thing that I have to report there is that we received, we were advised, this is a JPA, we were advised that the County of San Mateo would be charging us much more for dispatch services. And it's quite a tremendous amount. Subsequently, Daly City will have to pay its share. If I'm not mistaken, it's based on population, but it's gotten to be so tough that we are basically looking to outsource it. However, Supervisor David Caneper, President of the Board of Supervisors, has offered for us to establish an ad hoc committee to investigate and see if we can have some sort of negotiation in the fees that are upcoming. On February 20th, I met with the Emergency Services Council meeting. The name has changed from the Department of Emergency Management, because if you take the first first letters of that Department of Emergency Management, you get DEMS. And they came up with a name change, and it's North County, I have it down here somewhere, but it's North County something. I'm also a part of the Finance Committee there as well. We discussed all hazards evacuation planning, coastside resilience infrastructure through Supervisor Mueller, which was approved, and we allotted funding for them. And basically, what's very important is the evacuation plan, that they're coming up with software and utilizing AI for what-if scenarios, that each city is going to have a part in it, so that based upon the catastrophe that you have, you can come up with a proper plan of evacuation for your residents. So that continues to be worked upon, and that's all I have for Department of Emergency Management. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Are there any other council committee reports?
think we did. Didn't we meet?
Sure.
Right?
What?
Didn't we meet?
Yeah, we did.
Oh.
Yeah. You want me to start?
Go ahead, Mayor. I'll go after you. Yeah.
Okay. On February 27th, we had a CDBG committee report. And we had a meeting with our team, and just to consider like different options of what, or different scenarios in terms of like recommendations, new applicants for CDBG, and we looked at different scenarios of, I guess like one scenario where we can get like the similar funding from years past to if we get an increase, or if we might have reductions or no additional funding. And so with everything that's kind of unpredictable right now at the federal level, it'll just be coming our way. But I just want to thank our staff for putting it together with Linnell in terms of looking at different options and different scenarios that could potentially happen depending if we have like the funding that we've received in years past, and then there's another scenario of if we receive the same funding in the past with new applicants, and then another scenario if there's a 50% reduction. So that's going to be coming our way. Councilmember Manalo, if you would like to add, I don't know if I got everything.
You wrapped it up, Mr. Mayor. I think it was really an opportunity to talk with staff around what may be in the pipeline, but also just, look at some scenarios so that they're ready to go. Hopefully, we don't get any cuts.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And then are there other council committee?
We did, I think, Development Committee, right?
Yes.
And that was in regards to Marchbanks, right?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So we got to
That was on
meet-
March 4th, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're able to convey some of the ideas, me potentially in the future, around the midsection area of the Marchbanks Park. Given the fact that it's heavily used more on fitness, you see both young and elders go around that little, I don't know, it's around the grass area. And then I think you suggested an opportunity for having like fitness equipment. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have, also on February 27th, I had our monthly Peninsula Clean Energy meeting, and that was pretty fruitful discussions. So I'm just going to give you some highlights that, so they talked about PCE facilities updates, so the opportunities for different municipalities with PCE's funding and help, identifying different locations where we will be working with PCE in terms of providing solar and clean energy for different sites. I know that there are there's 2 rounds that are happening throughout the county, and then if any staff want to correct me if I'm wrong, but then there's in the pipeline working with PCE for different solar projects such as the Daly City Courtyard, Daly City Bayshore Community Center, Daly City War Memorial, Daly City Fire Station 94, the Reservoir 5B, and Ceremony Library. So that's just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of solar coming into these different locations that PCE is trying to move towards. And I think I got most of it. I'm maybe missing maybe 1 or 2. Another one that another update is that PCE is also having a facilities update. They might be moving to a new location with a 5 to 7 year lease. They've been looking at different spaces, and they expect a decision this fall and a potential move by September 2026. Hopefully, it's closer to Daly City because it's a far drive. Another one is they looked at financial impact by latest federal actions. And so based on the executive orders and what is happening at the national level, how's it going to affect PCE in terms of doing business? So one of the executive orders is being anti-wind. And so they looked at various wind opportunities that PCE has, such as Lava Ridge in Idaho. The California offshore is, so they put it on different levels. So the Lava Ridge, Idaho is severely challenged. The CADEMO, California offshore is challenged. Lucky Star, Wyoming, the negotiations on hold. Sunzia, NM Wind is no direct impact. And then we also find that there are some threats for future opportunities and contract wind projects will be limited. In terms of tariffs and IRA risk negotiations, there are also threats as well. So the whole thing about 10% on China tariffs and 25% on steel, which equals about 35% in terms of tariffs. So when we're talking about the storage projects, that might be an issue because of a lot of these materials are coming from China. And so hopefully we could just build as fast as we can. But we're talking about these type of additional tariffs and concerns on financing clean energy investments will have indirect and direct impact. So there's uncertainties and continually to negative impact contract prices and terms. Funding reduction and job cuts at federal agencies will slow down renewable and transmission development. But I think all in all, wind is going to be severely limited, and if there are available, it would significantly be more expensive. So in terms of this foreseeable forecast with clean energy, these opportunities are going to be impacted directly and indirectly. Okay, are there any other, sorry to end with such doom and gloom, these things. Hopefully we could weather the storm and, hopefully there'll be some changes at the federal level.
Did you say weather the storm?
Yes, weather the storm.
Because it's going to be storming this week.
Yes, it is.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I do have
Yes.
a CCAG update.
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
like to-
for sure.
So we had an update with CCAG. I think at our last meeting, on a monthly meeting, we did have a public hearing in regards to our congestion management land use impact analysis program, focusing on affordable housing exemptions and how the local transportation demand management plan thresholds for the exemption from CCAG and some of those TDM policy requirements. And so we had some discussion on that, but that was we're gonna have a second part of that hearing this upcoming Thursday. Also, we received a presentation from the San Mateo County One Watershed Climate Resilience Framework and Community-Led Plan Project, as well as an update that we usually have on legislative policies, priorities, and positions. And I'll keep it at that. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to city council reports. Are there any city council reports? None?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay. City council reports, let's see. I was able to attend the Sunset Soiree with Skyline College, just really bringing in both the South San Francisco Chamber of Commerce and then also the Daly City Coma Chamber of Commerce with the President's Council, in which I know Council Member Teresa Prano has been a longstanding member of. But it was really well attended. They called it a sunset soiree because really you see the beautiful sunset, and really to highlight the programs and the upcoming President's Breakfast, which I'll let my colleague announce. And then also the 25th anniversary of Walkabout celebration, and then also joined many AAPI leaders from all over the state for a leadership summit, which was held at the Warner Brothers studio, but you had legislatures from the state, local elected officials, and both those in the private, nonprofit, and government sector. And then also joined here at the Black History Month celebration. Also was able to watch some of the bocce ball with fire and police because, our amazing emergency personnel, the fire had a call. So it was a little delayed, the bocce ball, but nonetheless, it was great to see all of the older adults and seniors there, of course, with Marian Mann. That is her sport. And also the Councils of Cities dinner. I want to thank Mayor Rod for his leadership. It was really wonderfully done. I think everyone always enjoys, having the opportunity to sit with colleagues up across the county, but then also in a setting where it's not necessarily just the meeting, but really to be able to break bread. I'll allude to Vice Mayor, who made sure everyone got a taste of what Original Joe's or Westlake Joe's may be known for, their butter cake. He reminded everyone to make sure, you can't leave without trying that. But we definitely, that was really wonderful. Also, wanted to say that I did attend 2 meetings as appointed on the San Mateo Housing Committee. And with that, the Housing and Community Development Committee, HCDC, makes recommendations to the Board of Supervisors through the Director of the county's Department of Housing related to some of the expenditures of housing. Just like how we approve the CDBG funds, Mayor, in our committee, it's similar to the committee I'm on with the county, and also some housing, affordable housing funds and community development needs. At that hearing on March 7th, we were able to hear from applicants. And then also, I think the tradition that the Chamber of Commerce has also for their crab feed. I was able to join you all, and what a wonderful Friday evening right before our budget study session, which I think was timely. So we got all that energy from the protein, and then we had our budget session that was the following Saturday. And then I also joined Bites and Beats for a Cause. It was a women empowerment event, really to highlight and give back to women organizations, that was hosted at Lingnam. And that is all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the
you.
time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well,
Councilmember Prime.
I would ditto on a number of those events. I won't repeat all of them, but we had a great time. But I would like to announce the President's Breakfast for Skyline College is going to have their breakfast. And this is for the President's Council, and it's going to be Thursday, March 20th at Skyline College, and bright and early, 7:30 networking with an 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Breakfast and programs. So that's something that if you're not going, you might want to go. And it'll start your day. Also, Daly City Public Library Associates this Thursday will have their St. Patrick's Day luncheon, and that will help the libraries. We're still here. And that's going to be a nice event coming up. Also, Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church is going to be celebrating their 100th year anniversary. Kick off with a mass on March 15th at 10 o'clock in the morning. So those are just giving a little tidbits on a few events that are coming. But if you're, hopefully some of you are coming, so we'll see you at the breakfast. Anyway, thank you.
Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Yeah, so this is a council committee report. I remember just a council member, Sylvester, on your report when you were talking about the dispatch. And of course, I know that you get feedback from our RPD as well, that Colma does have their own dispatch. So that's just maybe a thought. Just throwing it out there, and then of course, then you'll be working with our law enforcement to get their input as well, if we're thinking about there any changes in our city manager. But I do know, and they fund their own, but maybe they expand, but I'll leave it there because that's your committee. The same thing with Councilmember Perano, where we both attended with Councilmember Manalo. We did that walkabout exercising, right? That was great on a Friday morning. And then bring different kind of shoes next time. And that was great. And the bocce ball, yes, our PD won. We know that, and the chief was there. I don't know if he was going to get in there, but they had a big warm-up is what fire is saying before the firefighters got there. But they got the trophy, well-deserved, and I think you have like an MVP now. She did an excellent job. I think she was claimed the MVP of the bocce ball by Marion. So that was, and the weather was perfect. The weather turned out really, really perfect. And Andrea and Denise, and I think it was Andrea that put everything together, so we want to give her a special shout out to her. Let's see. And then let's see, where do we have this? And then when we had our budget session, to let people know that that's just our first one, we're going to have more upcoming that will be here so that people can attend or at least watch on there, that it'll break things down. I think that, I don't want to misspeak, but the next will be about departments, and it'll be better detailed. It was very well done. Thank you, Mr. Nevin and Leilani and our city manager. Very well put together. And to those small businesses, we will be addressing again, which again, I just repeating it because I just saw them today about the fire inspection fees. And we will be going in a lot of details in maybe 2 more sessions or 3 more sessions. But it was very well explained, questions answered, went very smooth. And then we saw the expenditures were unfortunately going above the revenue, but we don't know the forecast. We have no crystal ball. But I thank goodness for Mr. Nevin, who's going to give us the update by the time we get there, so we kind of know where we're going. And we need our VLF money, which that's vehicle license fee, which we have not received yet. So that'll be something to look into. But thankful that we have over 5 months in reserves. And I listened. And took copious notes. So really grateful. It was a great session, I thought. And then I'll save the other committee reports for later due to the time, Mr. Mayor. But I have to say, they did a great job. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councilmember DiGiovanni. Yeah?
Oh, you did?
Oh, no, not yet. I'm not done yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I got one.
I got one. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't
I
know
just
if you
have to-
were going to bring it up, Mayor, but the Ethics Committee met.
Yes, please.
Right, and we're in the process of creating a policy, and we're getting there, and the policy will be coming to all of us to look at it and approve it. So that's forthcoming. So, but we did discuss it. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you for the reminder, Kaiser. I had it written down and I totally forgot it. All right, so 3 quick announcements. March 27th here, 5:30 p.m. here at the City Hall. we have the Women's History Month celebration. It was read at the beginning of the proclamation, so I hope that everybody can come out. The next day.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
On the Women's Commission, yeah, I did hear it on the proclamation. I
Yes.
started feverishly writing it down. So I guess this will be the date that the commission starts up and they'll be sworn in. I don't know.
Believe so.
What's the plan?
Yes. So that'll be the day where we'll have the Women's History Month celebration, and also the day that we will be swearing in our new commission and celebrating the inaugural meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the next day, March 28th, is the debut of Chagalchi, our Korean spot in Ceremony Center. So check that out if you want to check out the Ceremony Center's Instagram account or Chagalchi, and hope to see you all there. And then April 5th will be our first inaugural Arab American Heritage Month celebration. Be here at City Hall. April 5th from 12 to 3 p.m. I'm excited for that, and giving our doing something new for our city and highlighting the people, the community, and the ancestors of those that are Arab American. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, what about your state of the city?
Oh,
Please.
nah, not
Please.
Oh yeah, and then March 27th will be the State of the City, and that will be scheduled at 5:30 p.m. Is that correct? Or 24th. Me and my dad's birthday. So yes, March 24th. That's correct.
Oh my goodness.
Man, that week's gonna be murder row. So I'll see if I could duplicate my DNA and replicate myself for that week. But with that, I'll hand it over to our staff for item number 13.
Don't have a real extensive report, but we are preparing for the potential storms.
Great.
Wow.
Thank you, City Manager.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so keep updated with all the storm trackers and everything coming our way.
Wow.
Next up is our last item, which we have a couple of memory of adjournment. I'd like to go ahead and pass it over to first Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Through the mayor, I'm not sure if this is was on your agenda. It's because I just had known her, but please let me know. I don't want to step on the mayor's toes. But I'd like to close in memory of Payroll Pat. Payroll Pat, as we know, is Pat Saunders, Patricia Ann Saunders, who was here with Daly City for 20 years. And everybody went to her to get advice on the payroll, even after she retired. She made lifelong friends here at Daly City, and is proven by such a great, outstanding memorial for her, which everybody had such a love and light for her. She was born in North Carolina. She moved to Visitation Valley in San Francisco. She graduated from Balboa High School, attended SFSU, and then in 1975, when she came here, I think it was right away almost that she became to work for the great city. She was known as the go-to payroll Pat. So she was always upbeat, always had a kind word to say. She would put stickers, I believe, on the payroll checks and write little things, little notes on people's payroll checks. So she was a delight for everyone. So she was an active member of the Broadmoor Presbyterian Church, Peninsula Interfaith Action. She was also, let's see, want to make sure I get all her family in here. So she had one of her pride and joys was her granddaughter, which is Cheyenne. And she was predeceased by her husband, Bill, and her sister, Jerry. She was survived by her daughters, Susan, also known as Kathy, Diane, and Nancy, who was the youngest. So our other living sister was Sister Carol. And so I want to make sure that we closed in her memory, because anybody that met Pat, and I think that many of you have had that opportunity to do so, she was such a delight. So we love you, Pat, and Nancy, and family. So thank you very much. And she was an asset for our Daly City. And this has a little smiley they put on the back of the program, because this is indicative of some of the things that she would do just to make people laugh. So thank you. What a blessing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember DiGiovanni. Councilmember Jessalyn Manalo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I want to send our deepest condolence to Sonia Reyes, and this is in honor of her son, Flor de Vince Michael Morales Reyes. It is with heavy hearts that we announce the passing of Flor de Vince Vinny Morales Reyes, a beloved son, brother, uncle, godfather, and friend who peacefully passed away on February 22nd, 2025, at the age of 62. Vinny was born in Manila, Philippines on May 8, 1962, to Nash and Sonia Reyes. He lived the life devoted to his family, and his love for them was evident in all that he did. He cherished his role as a devoted uncle to his nephews and niece, a loving and compassionate caretaker to his mother, Sonia, and the most loyal and dedicated friend. A passionate golfer, Vinny worked at a prestigious golf course across Hawaii, Arizona, and California. His love for the sport was only surpassed by his love for the people in his life. Whether it was through a helpful hand or his ever generous heart, Vinny's selflessness and unwavering kindness touched everyone who had the privilege of knowing him. Vinny is survived by his beloved mother, Sonia, his younger sisters, Charmaine and Vanessa, his nephews, Joey and Takeshi, his niece, Masami, and his great nephew and great niece. He leaves behind a memory of warmth, generosity, and love that will never be forgotten by his family and friends. May Vinny rest in peace. His memory will live forever in the hearts of all who knew him.
And with that, let's hold a moment of silence. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Good work. And we'll see you back in 2 weeks.